Yo, what's happening everyone? How you all doing? How's your day? Don't actually tell me, I don't care. Today we are doing a familiar video. It's gonna be another State of Fortnite little yap session. Around 7-8 months ago, I made a video called the State of Fortnite, where I basically had a little rant just going over all the problems that Fortnite had and how I just didn't see it moving forward. I realised that since then, Fortnite OG has given me some new perspective. I haven't really played a lot of Fortnite in the last month, last 2 months really, which is why there's not been any videos, but I thought, you know what, to get back into it, why don't I just come on here and have a little talk about those thoughts I conjured up, about how I don't see how Fortnite can ever restore itself due to the current situation of its actual fundamental balancing and creation. If that sounded like a bunch of just words, I'll explain it, I promise. But essentially, we're going to play a game of Fortnite, and I'll basically just talk through my thoughts. Right, so OG has been around for a few months now. The permanent game mode's been out since December, and Season 1 in specific is what provided the thoughts I'm having about the game that I wanted to sort of talk about in this video. There's a reason for that, because Season 1 of OG displayed, I think, a lot of the balancing problems that Fortnite's had as it's sort of mutated over the years it's been out. And I think Fortnite OG Season 1 displayed all of those problems and sort of put it in perspective for me. And I thought it was interesting, and it's only now, months later, that I'm actually putting those thoughts into a video. So that's what this is going to be. Now, these mystery balancing problems I've been waffling about for the start of this video, there are a few main ones, and hopefully by the end of this I've explained them and either you'll agree with me or you won't. But let's talk about a little concept called balancing. I think it's important that before we start talking about it to do with Fortnite specifically, we talk about balancing as a general concept in gaming. That is the gayest thing I've ever said. I think it's not very well known by most people who play video games, or play anything for that matter, how delicate the actual balancing of the game is, and how much effort and thought is put into things you don't even know are happening. And I think Fortnite's an example of something that originally had that, and then just had it thrown away, because they really didn't have to put much thought into the balancing, because the game isn't really competitive. I mean, it's a game for kids. Their entire monetization is from brain dead kids. I mean, obviously that might be a bit strong, but I think that's honestly why the balancing of this game has sort of gone out the window and been traded out for more flashy updates and more crazy new things and brand deals and things that just garner short-term attention. Now back to balancing. Every little thing that is added to a game and every mechanic has to be thought through painstakingly to make sure it doesn't overwhelm or throw off the desired, intended way the game is supposed to be played from the developer's point of view. And that is why updating and changing things is so delicate. And now I'm not going to try and drag out this explanation, sort of exposition part of the video, because it's really not that serious. So we're going to immediately switch away from balancing and talk about the second key point before we start getting into the specifics of Fortnite itself. Just hold on, I've got to show this Gimp who's boss. Desired theme or desired atmosphere. Picture any game you've ever played in your life. And this even goes for TV shows or any form of media really. There's always a desired theme and also a very prominent atmosphere or aesthetic around the piece of media. And that should stay consistent. Fortnite doesn't do that. It's as far away from consistent as any media could possibly be. And now that I've rambled and explained those two key points, let's delve into how Fortnite interacts with those two things and how it's interacted with those two things over its lifespan. So it was the start of OG, and the more me and my friends started to play it, the more I started to notice something. The game's played a bit differently. It felt like odd. It felt like your life mattered a bit more. And that was because there was just not as many healing items and as many sources of loot as there is in like modern Fortnite. I feel so homeless in this game. It's just
That's such an amazing way to put it, homeless.
And it created a sort of like sense of survivalness from it. You had to be careful with your material count. You had to watch your heals count. You had to take engagement strategically, and it was so much less arcadey like it is now. And that sort of made me clock how original Fortnite was designed. It's little things like that, the amount of things you can come across and the space between different points of interest and all these little things, this kind of scarcity. That was how Fortnite was originally designed, and it worked really well. I think Season 1 of OG was just the most fun on Fortnite you had, because it felt like each game actually mattered a bit. There was a bit of, like, edge.
Oh, I'll take these grenades as well, fuck man.
3v3 on good health as well, boys.
To it, you had to be careful with your life instead of just running around knowing there'll be something everywhere. Like modern Fortnite, there is just literally something everywhere, and if that's what you like and you have that kind of attention span and you like just things in your face constantly, then I guess that's you. But I don't know, I just can't stand it, man. But yeah, I think that sort of scarcity and the difficulty in finding certain items just really impacted the way the game was played in a really positive way. I think it actually made it feel more like a battle royale, which is what it originally was meant to be, rather than like a team deathmatch just with 100 people, which is what it's sort of turned into now. But now let's get on to the second thing that they fucked up in balancing: movement. Their movement system is so botched, man, and I'll explain why. I think the building mechanic has sort of lost its entire purpose, and I think that happened a long time ago, because I don't think builds were ever meant to be spammed the way they are now. But I mean, hey, they can't exactly change that now, because they'd be uprooting like almost the entirety of the competitive player base. Not that I give a shit about them, but I see why they can't exactly do that and just remove turbo build like some people suggest. As much as it's a nice suggestion, it's obviously not going to happen, and it's retarded to think it would. However, I think the movement really uproots the sort of intentionality of building more than it's already been uprooted. The fact that you can sprint, fly, and fucking swan dive now off of every building and mantle up everything, it uproots the entire mechanic of building, and that's because building was originally meant to be something that can control engagements. You can keep track of people always and use the builds to sort of block you and other people off and create your own angles and create your own fights. But now, because people can just sort of soar across the place, the second you start building, you now can't keep track of others because they're here, there, and everywhere. And that just makes build fighting so frustrating now. It really feels like it was only ever meant to be something in zero build, because I can see why it's there. I mean, it makes sense, but in a game with building, I just think it should be movement is more stagnant and more intentional. Now, because this section of the video has taken way longer than I thought it would, we're going to switch over to the second thing. Time to talk about the theme, or the atmosphere, or whatever I called it. Now, Fortnite over its lifespan has had a theme and an atmosphere about as consistent as my upload schedule. It's all fucking over the place. Well, I'm aware that not everyone cares about that as much as I do, but for me it's a big part of any experience, sort of, in media. Now, Fortnite's theming came from its predecessor, or well, what Fortnite originally was, Save the World. And I think Save the World had a really unique atmosphere, and it still does to this day, that Fortnite adopted the Battle Royale version into. And that's what made it have such a unique feeling to it, and that's why I think we all grew attached to it, especially when we were younger. Over the years this game's been out, that's just sort of been like degraded and thrown out, and now the game's just about whatever they decide on for the new chapter in the Epic Games corporate smoke circle. I mean, fucking hell, this year it's like about Japan, and then it became about like bank heists, and it's just, yeah, it's just all over the place, and it's weird. And that's what I was talking about earlier in this video, where it's obviously tailored towards kids and that kind of brain-rotted side of the world. And I mean it's bound to happen. With a game like this where they can make fucking good money off of putting in little effort like that and just focusing on the flash factor, I mean, they're going to do it. I mean, it's a corporate business. There's no two ways around that. It's obviously going to be like that. But luckily, we get the OG game mode, and that sort of provides a sort of normal Fortnite experience again, which hasn't existed for ages. And that's why I think, as far as the state of Fortnite goes, it's sort of irreversible. There's too much that's happened for Fortnite to ever have a sort of fresh start. and be how it used to be, but in a new format. It's only going to be reworks like this and re-releases of the old Fortnite that will ever give Fortnite its character back. So as far as the State of Fortnite goes, just enjoy OG, man, and watch my fucking videos. Yeah, the minigun's fucking broken, man.